welcome back to being lost.
Welcome to Commandants.
I hadn't played this in forever. There's been a bit of a gap. So, yeah. You guys are just as lost as we are.
So Chandler,
Yes.
how do you feel about current events?
The one thing happened and it was very bad.
And I think that both sides were at fault equally because that's totally what happened.
I have no idea what you're talking about because, like, why would we ever date this? It's not like we did it every other episode in Charlottesville.
I was about to say, no, we didn't date this because the way we worded it, it is so general that it could apply to literally any point in time.
Yes, but I'm talking about previous episodes where we've dated them.
I know, but that's because what we do. We're approachable. We're of the people.
I think we've been playing this since, I want to say January?
I want to say that as well, and that's funny because it is what month?
August.
Yes, it is.
So,
you wanna literally date this?
yeah, fuck it.
August 20th, 2017.
Oh please, it's 2018. You don't need to
No,
lie to
it's
them.
2017 at 7:50 p.m.
The reason why Jake said the ching chong shit was because we ordered Chinese.
And
Scratch that, I ordered Chinese.
and yeah, and we all offered to pay. Well,
No.
half of us had offered to pay, and you're like, no,
Let me do this.
let him have something.
Let me contribute somehow. And like I said, I have no idea what we're doing because it's been months since I actually beat this game.
And also, I crank called after we got our food because it took so long for us to get our food, and I did like just sucky $5. All the good,
South Park jokes.
all the good Chinese stereotypes, golden age hits, all the greatest hits collection, and they just remained silent the entire time. It's like they just set the phone down and walked away.
How dare they?
At the end, after it was basically
A minute.
It was seconds of silence, broken up only by Chinese stereotype jokes. And then after a full minute after I called, I was like, I can't believe how rude this service is. Because they've been putting me on hold for a full minute.
I know if I look up the FAQ, it won't tell us shit because I remember that was bad. But I wish there was a way to tell what our objective was.
Well, you see, Chandler, they would do that in a good game.
What, you tell me this isn't the greatest game of all time?
No, I'm saying that this is even better than the greatest game of all time. Two words for you, Chandler. Dark Souls.
What about Dark Souls?
This game is bullshit.
Yeah,
It is confusing.
yeah.
It tells us nothing about the lore of the world besides those really brief little, things we buy. We have to buy those.
Yeah.
It's hard as fuck. So basically, Chandler, we got to get good. This game is Dark Souls.
10 out of 10, we can fly.
Yep, you see? We picked the deprived of gravity class. Huh?
There is a deprived class, but...
Yeah, I made a Dark Souls joke, folks. Loves me.
I love you.
I don't even like Dark Souls, and I made a Dark Souls joke.
I love Dark Souls, but if we're... Okay, I'm actually curious. What would you say is, in your opinion, the greatest game of all time?
I think I was asked that like a week back, and I'm still not sure.
I can tell you what I think is my personal favorite and what I think is my personal idea of what is the greatest game of all time in
All right,
terms of
go right ahead.
an
I'll tell you.
RPG.
I'll tell you mine after. Go ahead.
I'm going to be called a faggot.
I think I know what your answer is, but we'll see.
New Vegas
Yep, I knew that was your favorite game.
is my favorite game of all time,
It's one of
even
my
without
favorites.
mods.
It's one of my favorites.
It's one of the few games I've ever played where I can proudly say I didn't kill a single thing. Balloon, on the other hand, was a monster. He killed so many people.
What about Deus Ex?
What about Deus Ex? that over pretentious game that, honest to God, if you don't freaking know the game like the back of your hand because you put hundreds of hours into it, it's not really that fun. And also, it's super freaking dated. Fight me. The shooting in that game isn't that good in modern day standards.
But Chandler, 10 out of 10 modern standards.
No.
5 out of 5 modern standards.
No.
But what about Dunk View?
What about the fucking retard that's a Nintendo fag?
He's not a retard. He's a funny man who has very strange and very biased opinions about video games.
It's funny that you say that, but you don't freaking defend the fact that I called him a Nintendo fag. Because he is one.
He is an Nintendo fag. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying he's a funny man.
Why is he doing serious stuff then?
Because he wants to, and because some people agree with it and don't think it's a mistake.
Anime was a mistake.
Anime was a mistake. So why do you think that New Vegas is best game?
Because it's, even without counting the expansion packs, DLC, whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Yeah. It's
one of the few games that you can tell a person's faction the way they pronounce a name. It has some of the most memorable freaking characters in all of gaming history.
Like who?
Not counting the obvious companions, Raul, aka Danny Trejo, but most people forget that it's Danny Trejo, Boone, the
boss.
A boss.
No one can do a good Danny Trejo except Danny Trejo.
Exactly. Frickin' who doesn't love Machete? And he's actually a nice guy in it, which is, other than Spy Kids, isn't that popular for a character he plays.
He's also the closest thing to a pro Legion companion you have.
Yeah. You have frickin' Cass, this 50-year-old woman that's like, yeah...
That's right, she is 50.
I think it's closer to like late 40s, but I always say 50.
But yeah, she's way older than she looks.
Yeah. Fucking beauty of being the daughter of Sharon Cassidy from 2. Who's like, yeah, the NCR shit, but it's still my home, and I believe in its values. Yeah. You have fucking Arcade, you know, a good gay character, unlike 90% of every other gay characters.
You mean a faggot?
Yes.
He's a good kind, though.
He's the only gay character I know at this point. I might be wrong down the line. You can yell at me if you do. That I'm aware of that is gay and it isn't in your face about it.
Yep. Not only that, and this is probably even more than that, because I would say that there are probably characters in Mass Effect and other BioWare games that are like that, but it's the first gay character I've seen that isn't gay for the purposes of, in an RPG at least, being like a romantic companion. Because you really can't romance anyone in New Vegas.
You can fuck hookers, though.
You can fuck hookers, but you can't, like, romance companions Mass Effect style. So it's like a gay...
You can try.
He's a gay companion that you can't fuck. I think he flirts with you at some point.
If you have the confirmed bachelor, it's the same thing like with the other amazing gay character, fucking... Veronica, a.k.a. best little sister, and I will protect that smile.
It is a smile worth protecting. She's one of my favorite companions in that game, and probably in video games, because she's fun.
She is
and she punches.
She punches people. She and just to make sure the context, we live in a post-apocalyptic world where there's no modern medicine. The smallest cut can basically fuck you over. Yeah. Here's a fucking girl with literally rags going around punching people with her super fists.
She's like, she dresses like she's a fucking druid. She hits like she's a fucking monk. You want to go D&D parlance.
It's fucking beautiful.
It is.
And you have Edie, which is a cute, small robot.
Yep.
You have Rex,
Robosphere,
which is your doggo.
Yeah. Pupper doggo. One gem missing. That was great.
It's beautiful, and it makes perfect sense.
All right.
And this is the last level we're coming up on.
Sweet. I want to see all of these.
I'm trying to think of, am I missing any other companions?
Lily.
Lily, yes,
Grandma.
thank you. Best grandma in all of gaming. I will fight you if you do not agree.
You know, I heard there was someone saying the other day, I was watching some video where they were like, has there ever been any, like, old women characters in games?
Yes.
Like major ones. There you go. Lily's a good one.
Lily and Dr. Choclos from Mass Effect.
Yep.
Both. She.
I feel bad for Lily because you hear like the fucking audio log she keeps around of
Yeah.
her grandkids before she got mutated.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you know what? And honestly, gosh, she hit me on way too much because of the whole Alzheimer's thing.
Yeah.
Oof. But the point still remains that you had that happen around the same time as Dark Souls 2. So there's no way they could have been like, oh, Alzheimer's, that's going to be subcontexting on both of these things. Yeah, we're going to say that. No.
Yeah.
And that's why I look at this and I'm thinking, it's some of the best writing. The gameplay, it's eh. But I like it because I really like shooters.
There's one thing they did that was really cool. It's that fucking quest about the water and
Yeah.
redirecting it. It's in, was it like fucking Vault 34
Yeah.
with the guns? And it's so fucking small because you can avoid it really easily.
Yeah.
Most playthroughs I do. But it's like, do you do the water to help the people above ground, but then you'll be killing the people in the vault? Or do you do it the other way?
Exactly.
And it's a major fucking choice that you can make, and it's reserved for like, I don't even, if it is a marked quest, it's barely marked.
And this is something I've said about it, about New Vegas, that fits so well that it's crazy. It's the Blues Brothers of video games.
Yeah.
It's not about the overall destination
It's
or
about-
plot. It's about
the
the
journey.
many little stories. It's not.
Yeah.
It's one of the few games I could say it's the sum of the parts of it that makes it. You can have, just like you and me. You favor Legion. I favor NCR.
I favor Legion because I like to kill and murder and be, no one gives me shit for it, which the Legion does. But at the same time, they're one of the most lawful organizations there, even though the shit they do is the most chaotic and fucked up. They're worse than Raiders in terms of violence they do, and yet they're all fucking orderly and shit.
And at the same time, there can be reasoning behind it. It's literally what Skyrim tried to do.
Be good. Nah,
Tried
Skyrim's
to,
good.
yes. And also when it came to the whole Civil War thing, they wanted their players to be like, which side do you think's the best? Only instead of making it basically the same fucking quest, only with a different name.
I think Skyrim did a better job of making the sides equally sympathetic, but in terms of making the fucking missions you do for them unique, they failed in that department.
Exactly.
Which, on the one hand, you could argue is the point in that because they're so similar in terms of being sympathetic and their fucking points that it's sort of like a commentary on war in that you're doing the same shit, just different side. But at the same time, from a gameplay perspective, it's not as fun as having
It's
a
not
new
as
quest.
fun.
Not
and
as replay
I
value.
don't think, and this is, yes, you can take this as me knocking Bethesda. I don't think they're smart enough to come up with that conclusion.
Yeah. Some of the writers might be able to, but I don't think Todd is the one who came up with that.
It just works.
Yeah. Todd, it just works. Bethesda. His last name's Bethesda.
I wouldn't
Fact.
be surprised if it isn't at this point.
His name is now Todd Bethesda.
And yeah, and
I
that
love you, Todd, but fuck you.
it's like this. It's like this. And not only that, but it's one of the few games. I'm the type of faggot that once I play or watch something enough times, I don't get anything new out of it, so I'm bored with it. I don't really want to touch it anymore.
Yeah.
It's one of the few games. There's only one other game that actually does this to me. That makes me that I can go back and play it whenever I want.
Which one is that?
And this is without mods and stuff. And that game is what I think is the greatest game of all time. And that is The Witcher 3.
See, I like Witcher 3, although most of my gripes with it, unlike Dark Souls, I will defend Witcher 3 on this, are get good things. I think too much of Dark Souls, it's shit that you couldn't have possibly known the first time. So the whole get good aspect is your mileage will vary on whether you have the patience and won't just get fucking angry at it like I will and be like, no, fuck this is stupid. Which is what I do. But with Witcher, at least, when I fuck up, I know it's my fault that I fucked up because I could have dodged here or some shit.
It is. I know a lot of people like the Dark Souls combat. I, honest to God, think Witcher 3 has the best combat in any video game.
I like Witcher 3's combat, even though I fucking die a lot, and that's saying something. I didn't like Dark Souls.
It is.
I'll give you that.
The fucking you have so many options. You can. It's one of the few games that the different builds actually feel like different play styles.
With Witcher, I haven't tried too many different builds, so I couldn't say on that front. But hey, I'm gonna take your word for that because Chandler and then the Arges, they were the ones who were like, "Hey, get this," and I was like, "Sure." I got 2 glowing recommendations from 2 friends, so I'm gonna do that.
It has some of, and this is coming from me, jizzing all over New Vegas. It has some of the best. Oh. I don't think we could.
I'm just gonna
prolong the death.
Okay.
We died twice.
So it has some of the best what?
Has some of the best writing in any game I've ever seen. No one is plainly evil.
But what about that one guy?
Which one guy? The guy that had reasonings for what he was doing?
Yeah, all of them.
Oh, you mean it's almost like they aren't crazy and consider themselves evil and have twirling mustaches?
But what about the guy who runs the kingdom thing? You gotta get his niece or some shit.
Oh, you mean Amir? You mean the guy who's basically an emperor that's like any other emperor saying, yeah, I want this land. It's mine now?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like he's a real person, or a real person in that regard.
Yeah, realistic motivation. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's almost like every single character has that.
What about fucking drunk spousal abuse petty lord?
Oh, you mean the guy who had his wife cuck him for years on end, and also the fact that his wife progged and egged him and hurt him in the most horrible ways, and made it so that she, knowing he was drunk, to use that and then use that anger she has on him on his daughter, who in turn grew up to hate him because of that. The one thing he held dear more than anything else.
Yeah,
and she emotionally manipulated her as well.
Yeah, she sounds like a cunt too.
Yeah.
Doesn't really sound like a victim, even though she is, but she's not.
Exactly.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's almost like
Quit bringing your moral complexities into this, Chandler. Just beat up the bad guys.
No, I won't, because this is amazing writing and more people need to learn from it.
But it's Polish and they're all Nazis because they
weren't Nazis.
They don't have enough black people in their games, Chandler. SJWs.
It's the Middle Ages and there were black people in the DLC.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm the one fucking guy who wears the fake glasses, even though, according to the Argue, it's probably real glasses, but he takes the lenses out for camera or some shit. Excuses.
I didn't even know that. But yeah, the point still remains. Oh my god, this writing. Everything's realistic. Why hasn't this been a thing?
New Vegas is one of my favorite games. Now, I'm just saying this because I didn't really have much time to think about this question, even though I did say that I think I was asked it before. I didn't have time then. This might honestly be my favorite game just of all time from nostalgia and the amount of hours I clocked into it. But Warcraft 3.
Yes.
I love Warcraft 3 because I love RTSs, and I also like the RPGs. And they have a sort of RPG element. I think the best RPG type of gameplay. out of any RTS besides Warlords Battle Cry 3, which I like, but it's not as good because it's older, and so it's not as varied. There's not as much content.
The only other game other than Warlords and Warcraft I can think of that actually has RPG elements is Dawn of War 2 and RTS.
Yeah.
And the less said about Dawn of War 2, the better.
Yeah. But then you have both of those kinds of things. I like the story because it was probably my first big fantasy story besides Lord of the Rings, which I read. It's my first RPG fantasy type story in a video game.
Freaking
Arthas was cool.
Arthas is still one of the greatest characters. I will say this to my dying breath in video games. He is literally the fantasy Darth Vader, and I love that because.
And unlike the regular Darth Vader, we get to see the stages between, Anakin, and Darth Vader.
Exactly.
We get to see emo Anakin in Episode 3, and then he's just immediately Darth Vader. Whereas with Warcraft 3, you get Arthas as the good guy, being an actual hero, and then you get fucking Death Knight Arthas, which is a fucking stage between the two. And it's only after the fucking DLC where he fully becomes the Lich King.
And not only that, but you see the freaking slowly build of Arthas slowly becoming this monster.
You see the fucking seeds of him not being as moral as he should be right in the fucking second mission.
Oh my god.
Uther is like, oh, we have to defeat the orcs who are attacking the villagers. And Arthur's like, let me go into the fucking camps and slaughter them all. And then Uther's like, no, you have to stay here and, protect the people. And Arthas is just like, grr, I'm the prince. I shouldn't be doing this fucking babysitting shit. And Uther's like, I'm your fucking superior, and I'm a, paladin captain. I'm telling you, you gotta do this shit, man.
And then you see one of the most infamous missions, or famous, I should say.
Yeah.
Where he has to slaughter the people, or else they'll become monsters.
Yep. It's
the argument where people say Arthas did nothing wrong.
Because he had to.
Which I'll say that. Honest to God,
he didn't do nothing wrong, but he
chose the lesser of two evils.
In that situation, he did. He did more and more evil later. The fucking sword thing, the whole Frostmourne shit.
Yeah.
He could have left the fucking north and listened to Muradin and been like, you know what? Yeah, I will say this is a lost cause. We'll regroup and we'll defeat the forces of the undead later. When we fucking can, and I'll not make it worse.
I will say this though, there was one thing in that while he was in the north that made me sad, and that is how his men just got the letter from the king saying you gotta come home, and they were like, oh, all right, we'll go.
Yeah.
It didn't show the loyalty that they should have had to the commander first and foremost, aka Arthas. But you know what? It was what, 2003?
Yeah. The way I see that, though, it shows how much of a fucking lost cause the thing was. That the king was bringing them home.
And they wanted to go home.
And they wanted to go home. And it was only Arthas who was like, you know what, I'm going to sabotage the fucking ships. I think that's another point of Arthas did do something wrong.
Yeah.
In that he defied the fucking king. That's a very... And against Paladin act. That's not how Paladin acts. Your dad, the king, is like, come on home, guys. I'm fucking ending this thing. It's my order as your ruler. And he's just like, nah, I'm going to say fuck what you had to say. I'm going to destroy ships. And then he turns right after the fucking end of that mission where he destroys the boats, and he has the mercenaries killed.
Yeah. The men that fought beside him and whatnot. Just slaughtered.
And yeah, they were mercenaries. They're from the races that in any other context would be fighting him. But at the same time, there's a contract involved there. You pay someone to fight for you, or fight for you, and then you just like, oh, turn around and kill him. That's an evil act.
I mean, why would he ever kill Cain? What did Cain ever do to him? I mean, Cain's Abel was an amazing faction.
Exactly. The Negroes.
Exactly. And that's why I can see that. Honest to God, and it's probably a lot of people's favorite because let's be honest, Warcraft 1 and 2, not the most original plot line there was. Orcs invade.
Or that good of gameplay in the RTS.
Yeah, but then again, it basically kind of, along with StarCraft, kind of made the RTS genre, so...
But it had a lot of warts to it. There's a lot of growing to do. And then I also liked it because it was the first game where did like fucking community shit. Like downloading maps and scenarios and shit.
Yeah.
And first game where I modded anything, because I got like modded races.
It made Dota.
It did make Dota, and Dota was pretty good. It was a good fucking scenario thing that someone made.
I don't really like MOBAs, but I can understand why people do.
It was fun when I was a kid, and then it stopped being fun because then it became
A competition and a
Yeah.
quote-unquote sport.
Yeah, exactly. The people who were good at it were also the people who were way too fucking into it. And then the people who had been playing it for a while who just still did it for fun. And then they slowly started fading out and just getting replaced with
people who
competitive
say
people.
that MOBAs can be casual are no.
Not anymore, they can't. Now that it's a fucking sport, not anymore.
I've tried getting into League of Legends. I tried Dota. I even tried that one weird gods one where everyone's a god.
Fucking
I think we gotta
Smite?
go down this. Yes, Smite.
Oh, down here.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. Nah, that's where we just got, where we
Really?
came from. God damn it.
Oh.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my bad. Sorry.
That's fine.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't play any of those games, because I played Dota back when it was on Warcraft, and I was just like, no, I know where this rabbit hole leads. I'll try going down here. But yeah, that's one reason I like it, because I just got so much fucking hours logged into that.
Oh, we already been
Oh,
here.
yeah, this is also going back.
I remember now. Yeah, yeah.
And god damn it. And the fact that I could invest that much time in there and still find it fun, maybe just because I was a kid, or maybe because it's just that good. But they did make an MMO out of it, so I guess someone had to like it.
A lot.
Now make Warcraft 4, you fucking cucks.
Quick question: Is
So-
is the freaking WoW community still in the millions?
Yep.
Then no, fuck
Yep,
you.
they'll never make Warcraft 4, and that makes me sad.
And plus, what story could they tell at this point? They've already killed off Arthas.
Yep.
The Legion's fucking fucked off 3 times now.
Yep.
They already explored Pandera.
Oh, and then there's everyone's favorite, who was just not that good in 3, and I think the only reason that they expanded on him at all was because fucking edgelords, because teenagers, and it was fucking Illidan.
Illidan is
He was kind of cool a little bit, but if you think about it, he's really just a not as deep elven version of Arthas with less motivation to be evil, and with less of a fucking having been good in the first place.
And that's why I was about to say Illidan is probably one of the most overrated fucking characters in fantasy.
Agreed.
Because he keeps coming back.
He's like fucking what's his name? He's like Drizzt Do'Urden without the fucking
Tragic backstory.
without the third dimension.
Yeah. Which now thinking about it makes sense as to why
He's Drizzt Do'Urden as written by a 14-year-old.
Yeah. He's a fucking one of the Drow Elf Ranger freaking original characters.
Yeah.
Every fucking 90s D&D nerd made at least once. Even as a joke, you know what you did.
I'm playing a fucking half drow right now in David's thing.
Yeah. Guess what? You're not being an emo bitch that's trying to quote-unquote redeem the race.
He's lawful neutral. He doesn't have to redeem shit.
Exactly. Go out. I think I know where you're supposed to go. Yeah, go and make a right.
This way or the other way. He's the Northguard. That's what he does.
Yeah.
At least that's what
So
he
I
did.
think we gotta fly over to that tower.
Over this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Northguard. That's what he does.
Alright.
I'm fucking lost. This place, was it called, like Joy Tower?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling much.
Wait,
joy.
yeah, we were.
Do we go down here or?
Try going down.
Let's see if there's. I think, yeah, I see a treasure chest. Is it open?
No.
Oh, unopened treasure chests. Perfect.
That's how you know we're in the right direction.
Progress is good.
Or-
Both the wrestling
or-
promotion and this.
Or we might be in the very beginning.
We might be.
No, wait, we're at the right building.
Yep.
Because there's the mines.
Should we try going up here first?
Yes.
Should we next time this shit or just keep going?
Well, it depends.
It's 30 minutes?
Yeah, next time on Calls with Commandants, we'll finally finish this, even though I've said this for 1,000 times.